Oh my, etc. Yes, I will. Sorry, Strapin. Don't know what you heard there. So, anywho, welcome back to the channel, Strap fans. So today we're going to be looking at the Tomb Kings. So we're now on to our first DLC races for Warhammer 2, and I don't know if the Tomb Kings or Vampire Coast were first or not, but I like the Tomb Kings a little bit more. So for this guide, we're going to be playing as Cetra, even though Cetra and Ketep, they are both very small in bonus wise, and so both of them could be equally good for this first step. But Cetra is more powerful and more of a fan favorite. So he does have like the classic feel for the Tomb King's Egyptian style. So, without further ado, let's get into the campaign.
I, Cetra the Imperishable, King of Kings, Lord of the Shifting Sands, Eternal Ruler of Mankind, rest no longer. Mehekara will be restored to greatness.
Jeez, man. Stop listing all your titles. Egyptians, am I right? Anywho, thank you, Cetra, for that riveting conversation. So, for the Tomb Kings, they have a lot of different things compared to other races that make them very interesting. So, for one, they have no upkeep. So, you can recruit as many of these units as you want. They have no upkeep, but there's a catch. The powerful units, like these chariots here, you can only recruit a set amount. They have a unit capacity. You can increase this via buildings and via technologies, I believe, that increase it. But you're not able to really pump out the good troops until you're able to get into you're not able to pump out the good troops until you get into the end tier, because Tomb Kings, even though Cetra does have a growth bonus, Tomb Kings grow very slowly. They have a slow economy and a slow growth. So you're going to be using a lot of skeleton chaff infantry, like skeleton warriors and skeleton archers, which does give them a one-up on. It does give them a one-up on vampires because they have some range units, but you're not going to be feeling really good units because the skeleton warriors are very, very cheap, and they're easy to break. So that is one way that they're different. Their building browser still is pretty basic, but they're basic recruitment and all that, but and they have access to minerals, and they have some really good landmarks like this. The Great Pyramid, etc., is a really good red landmark. They also have the advanced military, pretty basic with their infrastructure that increases growth and all that, unit capacity. So their buildings are nothing too special, but they do have Great Pyramid locations, and those give you the landmarks for the Great Pyramids that do a lot of buffs. So you want to search those out, because it will help you in the long run. They're a Warhammer 2 race, so they have 4 rights. So their rights are as follows: the Great Incantation of Tahoth, which gives you a Casket of Souls, which is it's a pretty good unit. It's not the best artillery unit, but it is a really good unit and support unit, as well as Lord Recruit rank and Recruit rank +2 and Lord Recruit rank +3. And then the Greater Invocation of Petra gives you a unique Necrotech hero, which is capable of colonizing ruins at tier 3. And he'll be summoned next to your faction leaders. Really good way to mop up ruins that ravaging hordes just leave around. The Great Incantation of Kashar gives sandstorm attrition to all your provinces, which is really good for defensive. Also gives you the ability Sand Veil, which master units, gives you ambush success chance and makes you guys immune to it. But it really helps for defense because it will cause all enemy armies to take advanced attrition. Then the Great Incantation of Gahib gives you kinemic jars. We'll get into that just in a moment. And Growth, which is very important to get. Construction Time for all buildings, and Tomb Swarm, which is a direct damage ability, which is like a scorpion, plague of scorpions. I'm going to perform that right. Ooh, look at that. So, yeah, that's a very good one to have. And then their technology tree is a lot different than usual. So what you got to do is you got to do the wisdom of each dynasty, which unlocks army capacities, because you can only have a certain amount of armies active for the Tomb Kings. Now this doesn't include legendary lords, I don't think, but they only have 4 legendary lords, so you do need to be careful and not try to expand too fast and get too many enemies, because you will struggle to, like, you know, maintain your borders. But you have to unlock by researching the wisdoms of each dynasty. There are 6, plus once you get like all of these heralds empowered, you get another army, and you'll get them through this. You'll get more army capacity both through the technology tree, and I think you get somewhere else too, but we'll get into that. So you unlock one of these, and then you spend your kinemic jars to unlock a Tomb King Lord, a special one, to for each of the dynasty. Or you could do their proclamation, which is a big old buffing tech that can either buff units, give you control, growth, and it's really good. So the tech tree is very, very thought out and really well. So now let's go into kinemic jars. Now the mortuary cult is seen as a parallel to the dwarves' runes mechanic, the forge mechanic. So you have to collect certain resources and conquer the map to be able to recruit these things and awaken these things. And you can awaken some extra regiments of renown here, and you can also awaken more heroes, hero capacity, and more army capacity as well. So like a new dynasty, you just do a whole bunch of kinemic jars and all that, and then you can unlock better weapons, really cool ones, cool armors, enchanted items, talismans, arcane items. This is pretty much just like the dwarves mechanic. Now for kinemic jars, you get them from buildings, number 1, characters, which they can passively generate some, events, Great Invocation of Gaheb, harvesting organs from captives, missions, and other things as well. So that pretty much covers all of that. We're going to go into the books of Gash. So they have these 8 books to collect. It's like the Tomb Kings are the big old librarians of Warhammer. So they have to collect each book that you get from whatever army it's from or settlement. Will give you a unique ability. Like here, you'll get +5 unit capacity for Tomb Guard, and Skeleton Chariots, and more army capacity. You get Winds of Magic, that's 20%. Effectiveness of all commanders, 50%. Immune to sandstorm attrition and all that. You get line of sight over those regions with special trade resources and more income. You get more kinemic jars generated, and you get some recruit wink and all that, and kinemic jars and research rate. So it's really good to get. And I don't know if anything happens when you collect. I think when you collect them all, you're able to like go into the Great Pyramid. You achieve. I don't know. I think the Great Pyramid was just for the Warhammer 2's campaign, but it still is here, the Great Pyramid of Nagash. And you want to collect all the pyramids and collect all the books. And I think I'm not sure. I don't think it adds anything. Like if you collect them all, you get all the bonuses. But I'd have to look into if you actually get like a quest battle or something. You probably do still, because that's what you got in Warhammer 2. But that pretty much covers all of the campaign side. Let's get into some army compositions. Alright, Strat fans, and here we are at Tier 1. So to start, this is probably the only time during the early game that I will use like skeleton archers, because like they're just not that good to keep long term. But I do have 4 of them here as like a back line to do a little bit of saturation. The front, I always use Nekakaran warriors when I can, because even though they don't have a shield like skeleton warriors, they are vastly superior. They have more armor, they have more weapon strength, they have bonus with infantry. They're better. So we also have Cetra here, the imperishable himself, in all his glory, and a Lich Priest. I usually take a Lich Priest with the lore of Netkara, because they that spell lore is still pretty good. They have a bunch of very good buffing spells, and a good debuff spell, as well as a decent vortex and direct damage spell. And then in the back I have some skeleton horsemen. Again, probably the only time that I'll use skeleton horsemen over chariots is the early game, because they're just, they're easier, they're cheaper. And then I have some skirmish skeleton horse archers as well. Probably the only time I'll be using horse archers is in the early game as well. So let's get into the battle, and as you can tell, you already have something different up here. Before we get into it, there is Realm of Souls, so the more guys that we lose, we'll be able to activate this Realm of Souls. It's like a clutch ability. So we go to tier 1, we get we replenish our hit points, and as long as our morale maintains, we'll keep it going. And then the heal buffs up more when we get to tier 2. Then to tier 3, it buffs up even more. And then we unlock the Realms of Souls Ushtabi, which is a very good construct unit. And we can spawn them, and they're summoned units, so they'll do pretty good, but they'll degrade over time. Alright, let's get into this battle. Have the horse archers go after the dark shards, even though the dark shards are going to really decimate them. Alright. Now Cetra also has access to this spell lore. So that does give him a little bit of an advantage. But the Lich Priest will allow him to really do good. Alright, we lost a whole unit. But our skeleton horsemen are doing their job. Now the Realm of Souls is kicked in. We're going to start to gain some healing. And the Hekaran warriors are doing their job. Lich Priest. Let's do a vortex here. The enemy has their buff as well.
Lich Priest! Attack! Yes!
Now we'll go on the Souls tier 2. We just gotta beat these guys.
Cetra the Imperishable!
Alright, we're driving it back. have the Realm of Souls Ushtabi deal with these guys. Because the enemy firing line in the back has been causing a whole heap of problems. Deal with these guys as well, these firing lines, and then as you see we continue to re-trigger it too. Alright, now the enemy's starting to waver. There we go. We've won the battle. So you see we took a little bit of casualties in the early game because again our units aren't the best, but with our Realm of Souls mechanic as well as the clever timing of the lore Mechanicala, having like these base damage spells, physical resist and all that, we're able to weather the storm and, you know, outlast any enemy really. As long as you, and also these Ushtabi that we get for free, very, very good clutch unit to come in. So now without further ado, let's go on to a tier 2. Alright, Strat fans, and here we are at a tier 2. We're starting to get into some interesting stuff. So now, as you see, we've upgraded to Tomb Guard. Now, these are the Sword and Board version. So the regular Sword and Board version, usually you unlock first before the Halberd version. I think these guys actually win out over the Halberd version, because I usually replace them with Ushtabi or Monstrous Infantry or something else later on, because, infantry isn't what they're really known for. Even though these are a decent unit with 55 armor and they're shielded, and a decent weapon strength and all that. It's not all that armor piercing. It's only like 9. So even with the halberd, it reduces it even more. But I usually keep a couple of the halberd ones in the late game, but I will keep these guys for the second tier because they still are pretty good. So we have about 6 of them leading the front, along with our glorious Lord Citra on his Kemrian War Sphinx, which is a really, really good construct unit. We also have a Necrotect added to our roster with a Chariot. The Necrotect is really good because it replenishes hit points of, I believe, constructs. Like Ushtabi, Kemrian War Sphinxes, all things like that. So they're able to do that. As well as being a good infantry killer as well. We also have our Lich Priest again, this time on his steed. In the back we have the Kemrian artillery, the Screaming Skull catapults, which are pretty good, armor piercing, demoralizing, with magical ammunition. And then we have the Ushtabi as monstrous infantry for the sides, really good, heavy hitting, armor piercing anti-infantry guys. And they're also a construct, so they're they can be reanimated due to the Necrotect and all that, so the Necrotect can heal them. So it's really good to keep a Necrotect whenever you have constructs. And then we have the Pride of Nehikara, the Skeleton Chariots. These are the first chariot unit you get, and the Tomb Kings love their chariots. So we will be seeing, you see a lot of these guys when you're playing Tomb Kings, especially for Citra, because he loves his chariots. Alright, chariots are very hard to micromanage, but if you do it right, you can destroy any army. So we're all going up against the Greenskin Force here. Let's go on and get the battle. Alright, Screaming Skulls are firing. Let's fire Screaming Skulls at these infantries back here. I'm going to send some chariots around the back, on the sides, I'm going to send in the Ushtabi on the sides of the infantry formation, and then these guys up the front. with Cetra, the Lich Priest following in tow. And of course, this guy will remain next to the Ushtabi. So these guys go towards there. Alright. Like I said, this is a decent vortex, but it's not the greatest. A nice little sandstorm. Souls, I believe. That's pretty good. Alright, where are they struggling? Let's prove them. Get over there. Gotta get those chariots out of there, man. Those things are really bad. Human skulls, do with those guys. Come on now. Deal with these guys. Again, they're really good for keeping the enemy routing. Screaming Skulls do a demoralized debuff to the enemy, so it does help. Because they have that little circle right there.
Great King! Cetra the Imperishable!
Deal with him. Yeah, like I said, it can be a little bit challenging because you gotta micromanage everything with chariots. So that's why I don't really prefer chariots, but they do their job well. And Cetra himself is very, very good as well. Alrighty. Well, that does it for this one. As you see, it was a little bit shorter because we were able to really stick it to them, and we have some hard-hitting guys this time, even though we did lose a little constructs. Alright, so let's go into a tier 3 now. Alright, and here we are with a tier 3 army. So, for the for the final tier, we have a little bit of like jumbled up types of units, but let me explain. So, we've upgraded our Tomb Guard to halberds. They basically just buffs their damage a little bit, gives them armor piercing, so they're good for dealing with heavily armored units later on. I did take some the legendary the Regiment of Renown version, the Kefra Guard, which gives them magic attacks as well as bonus for infantry and regeneration. So it's really good for them. And then we of course have Cetra, this time on his Chariot of the Gods, which is really, really powerful with flaming and magical attacks, high armor, all that mumbo jumbo. In the back we have Ushtabi with a great bow, really, really good missile attack. They also are armor piercing missile attacks, so they're a really good missile unit for the late game. So eventually the Ushtabi go from being frontline monster units to backline missile units. It's kind of weird, but they do work very well. Of course, we have our Lich Priest. This time I took a Lich Priest of Death. Later on, you're not going to really need the Lord Nakari, especially because Cetra has it. So you want to have some damaging magic. And then, of course, we have our Necrotect as well.
I shall build.
Yep, our Necrotect here. He's going to be charging in with Cetra on his chariot, and then we get on to the big monsters. Yep, the Hyro Titan. We have one of him. He's very good with his weapon strength, and his melee attack has bonuses, has a buff to he does fire attacks and magic attacks. He's also he's got Spirit Conduit, which gives him a big power recharge. He's got these two the Shim's Burning Gaze and Spirit Leech bound spells, so he's really good. His counterpart, the Necrosphinx, is a heavy melee hitter, and again it has the same flammable magical attacks, but with bonus versus large and a bonus to fire resistance, as well as he has fear and siege attacker. They both have, and then we have Tomb Scorpions supporting the front line. Tomb Scorpions are big anti-infantry monsters. They're very fast, heavily armored, and they're a construct, so the Necrotech can help keep them alive. On the sides, we have Necropolis Knights, which are really good with halberds. They're basically a tomb guard on these big old snake guys, and they have poison damage with armor piercing and anti-large. And then this is a legendary renown unit I usually keep with us. Even though they are spectral stalkers, they do have a missile attack as well, so that buffs up that side a little bit. And then in the back, rounding out, we have a Casket of Souls, which is very powerful artillery unit. It has 863 armor piercing damage. It's very vulnerable in melee, but it's very good. It's got magical ammunition as well, so it's going to do a lot of damage to enemy. So let's get into this fight against the Empire. Let's march our little infantry force up, and then we'll march these guys up. Get the Hyro Titan over there, while the Echo Sphinx over there. These guys are going to go in here. Deal with those guys. Tomb Scorpions. Come on, Tomb Scorpions. You don't need to skirmish them because they can still be very powerful, even with all their flaws. Okay, get in there. Give Cetra this physical resist buff, and then we will do the Sandstorm.
My orders enacted.
We've already routed a lot of them. Casket of Souls, target the artillery in the back. Sun, that right there. Alright. As you can see, we're able to really decimate them. Casket of Souls doing a lot of damage as well. We do want to send our cavalry on back. do. Let's see if we can heal some constructs. Heal those constructs up. We barely even touched the realm of souls. Do that sandstorm there. Although Titan hasn't done anything either. Target that. Spirit Leech on this guy as well. So that'll help. And that'll do it. We just have to kill these flagellants and then we're done. See what I mean, guys? Later on in the game, they get very powerful with these constructs and all that, so it's so hard to take them out because of all the resistances and high armor, as well as the fact that they're a construct, they don't really take morale damage. All right, we just have to mop up these flagellants here. And that's the end of it. Just the one guy here swinging away. Come on, buddy, you got it. You got it. You can get it. You got this. The empire, the weight of the empire is on your shoulder. Oh, it was. All right. So, with that, let's go on and wrap up this whole guide, shall we? Alright guys, and with that, that concludes my guide for the Tomb Kings. So I hope you guys found this very enjoyable, and also you learned a thing or two of how to play the Tomb Kings. So again, just to recap, the Tomb Kings have a kind of challenging start with their units, but as they get more powerful and they go up tiers, once you get to tier 3, you're going to be dominating and just having so much fun watching those constructs just destroy things. So they become very construct heavy, chariot heavy, and they're very fun in the end, just to dick around with all those big units. So now, Strat fans, I challenge you to go out and prove your might to Cetra the Imperishable and reclaim the lands of Netkara, dominate the mortal world. So, Strat fans, I appreciate you for coming by today. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell me how I'm doing, and whichever race you want me to review next, because we're getting close to finishing all the race guides, and then I'm going to do each of the character guides, each of the Lord guides. So without further ado, Strat fans, keep it strategic. Grow out.